We'll assume we have arrived, do a initial circle survey, assess the scene of any additional hazards, stabilize the vehicle, gain access to the patient and cover the patient to protect her from any broken glass or metal that we might be moving. Once we've done that, we'll start to remove the roof of the vehicle, pry the doors open, and get the dashboard up off the patient. Once we've done all that, we'll put the patient on a board, maintaining cervical spinal immobilization, and then we'll remove the patient to an area of safety. So if you just bear with us, we'll start our demonstration. Thank you.
Performing their survey. Note the hands behind the back. Inner circle, outer circle. Placing the chocks. Ready? Okay. Right, they're pulling the stems on the tires. Watch the tire deflate. Will now secure itself. Okay. One firefighter going inside. Get his equipment. Chopping away the windshield. And now they're removing the windshield. The patient's been covered with a blanket. Something to protect them from possible glass. Side window. It's a wider column and includes some of the door frames. Inside is still being attended to, and it's still covered. Using the board to protect the patient. He's still maintaining. Looking boys.
We need to ask you, I'm one of the organizers, is there any way for us to get a tape from you for us for the university?
Okay, now they're making a relief cut in the roof. That's the proper term. For that window frame. The locking mechanism. And the door's been exposed. And now they're trying to spread the door away from the hinges. Protecting the patient, trying to get a better bite on the door. Okay, the door has been successfully removed. The hinges. Now they can begin to move the dash away from the patient. On the other side. Maintaining pressure on the door. If you're the patient, what you feel like, you're already under stress because of the accident, and all this noise is going on around you, sound of metal cracking and crunching, glass breaking. Think how that might add to your anxiety. Right, they've made a relief cut down here at the base of that wall. Right there. Now they're going to bring in the rams. patient as a unit. Lowering her down. Onto the backboard. Moving her out of the vehicle. Further securing the head.
Mark Mosley from Power 96. Now what the guys here at the Coral Gables Fire and Rescue have had to do is, in assuming that there's a very good chance in this fake auto accident here, and we have a lot of accidents like this, especially where drunk driving is concerned, where you're going to have a good chance that there's a head or a spinal cord injury. So what they have to do is, to avoid the risk of permanent damage, is move the car away from the victim instead of removing the victim from the car. And you see the long and very drawn out
Just the boys fucking off as usual. Not doing any work. Just kind of hanging out.
That's just his thing, right? He gets that. That's his whole ass in that thing, bro. Boom! Door popped open.
Eric Sheeter,
Gained access.
what do you think of this class so far?
I'm having a real good time. It's a good class.
Dean James, what do you think of this class so far?
Good time, man.
Carlos Aguilos, what do you think of this class so far?
It's a great class. Learned a lot here.
We can't wait to get back to the hotel.
Mr. Instructor Brad, what do you think of this class, sir?
Gables is going to do quite well in competition.
All right.
Thank you very much. Who do we have here? Oh, there's the lead man.
I'm just proud to be working with Coral Gables here today.
What a fine man.
Pleasure.
And who do you work with, sir?
Metro Day.
That's that big place, right?
Sí.
Thank
Bomberos de Day.
JP,
Sir,
what do you think of this class so far?
love it.
Mind if we take a look at your legs here, JP? Thank you. Let's go. This is a steering wheel pull evolution, working with hand tools only. Come along rigging. Eric Sheeter's building a slide cribbing up on the hood. He's preparing to do his chain wrap. The oblong ring stays up on the box crib. He drops the chain through the top of the steering wheel, out the bottom, and begins to wrap one time. In the meantime, JP Perez is underwrapping his carriage, bringing it up, placing in the ladder rack cribbing for distribution of the weight. If you notice, Eric has lifted, wrapped once, wrapped twice. This is a wrap low, pull high with a come along. Wrap low, pull high. And one side of the wheel. Connecting the come along. What are you doing, Eric? Hooking the pull end of the come along to the object, the back end to the anchor. Making the connection, waiting for the command from the IC.
Okay. Go ahead and take out the slack.
Take up the slack.
Take up the slack.
Looks like they took up the slack.
Check your chains.
Hold.
Hold.
Check your chains.
Check your chains.
Object chain's good?
Try and secure. Okay, up on the come along.
Up. Say steering wheel displacement using a come along evolution. Eric Sheeter setting up slide cribbing on just on top of the firewall whenever possible due to the more support of the vehicle and a pulling motion. He leaves the oblong ring on top of the cribbing, drops the chain through the top of the steering wheel out the bottom. He'll do a double wrap on the inside. JP Perez wraps the undercarriage, brings his chain up, places in the ladder crib for support of this distribution over the front end. As I stated, Eric Sheeter will do a double wrap around the steering column, back out the opposite side of the steering wheel. That is a low wrap, high pull method. He connects the chain to the chain shortener up at the oblong ring. At that time, he will hook up his come along to the object and then he come along down to the anchor point that JP has awaiting him with the ladder cribbing in place. Like I said, if you look into the foreground, Dean James is the incident commander, staying back out of the evolution,
Okay, Eric, take up the
getting
slack.
the big picture. Take up the slack, tightening
Hold.
the rigging.
Check
He's
your
calling
chains.
for a hold and check the chains. They'll do a physical hands-on from the object up to the come-along. JP will do a physical hands-on from the anchor point up to the come-along.
Object's clear.
Chains. Chain secure.
Chains
Okay,
gets a
up on the
report from
come-along.
both people, and then crank. Directional. Make sure that you are to the side of the come-along. Good. The following evolution is a door displacement using a come-along hand tool. Okay, go ahead. Picking up the equipment required, carrying it to the vehicle. JP removes the chain to wrap the undercarriage of the other side of the vehicle. Dean wraps the door side of the vehicle for the pull. Come on the ground. Notice the rig and the T formation coming around the door at approximately the middle edge of begin. Looking to come along, his chain shortened, his chain at the door, taking the come along. Dean will pull the come along over to JP where he's awaiting to make the connection. He has his oblong ring chain adjusted. He's, God damn it! And put the grating inside. Connect the oblong ring to the come along.
Okay, take up your slack.
The incident commander gives the command to take up slack. Once the chains are tight and insecure where it's holding things,
Okay, hold.
go
Check
for
the
a hold.
chains.
Look at a physical examination of the chains, Dean.
Chains are good.
Chains are good.
Okay,
Chains
up
are
on the come
secure
along.
from the front. JP, stand to the side of the rig. We're rolling, bud.
Breaking glass.
roof's got steel toes on.
Saves a whole lot more trouble. So sometimes that works pretty swift. Alright, next door with everybody. Go ahead and see them. Yeah. This needs on the other side of the roof. Other side of the roof. Make sure you get in there. Get in that board, brother. Yeah, right here. Okay, open it up. What's happening now is it's shed now. Okay, it's shred the doors, it's delaminating the door. So what we want to do is probably come a little like, yeah, let's try something in above the gator. Alright. Good. Remove the door at the end, and so you're going to be working. So you want to be talking about way.
Put out from under the door.
That was unusual. Cut the A-post. Yeah, next time we're going to need both of them. Slap the roof. disconnect this and hook it up to our rams right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Both of them are up,
Sam. So what you always do right before you release it, once it's dumped, just go like that, and that relieves some of the pressure on them on the line. Okay. So we're gonna do that. In the meantime, Sam, you can handle that, right?
Get the other one set up over here.
Come on, other guy.
It's locked down there, so that's hollow.
Okay? We're gonna try it, see how it goes. Okay, there's no guarantee. I'm not sure I like the angle, but right now if we'd have to rehook and all that, let's see what we got. Okay?
Your rear mast really needs to be at a vantage point where you can see what the dash is doing instead of at the front.
Here's ram mast.
Here's rear mast.
Okay, stop. Stop and go up.
Hard to get.
Yeah, we could. All right, let's try that. Enough to get the tape down. Oh, I know.
Yeah, and what did we just come from? We just went on a 55-mile bike ride in a half an hour. Yeah, 55 in half a mile, that's about what, 10 miles an hour? No. Wait. Oh, math was never my strong suit. Yeah, I think it's about 50 miles an hour, but we took less than an hour and we did 50 miles. So in reality we are going 100. And there's Dean the AIM toothbrush man. Hi Aquafresh, how you doing? Hi. There's me. Hi.
Okay, it's been
a great week.
It's been a great week. Had a good time. Learned a lot.
last one. See if we can get him to say hi. Preparing to jump. We'll see if he's brave enough. Just went behind the wall. Uh-oh, here we go. Feeling when we get there.
CGFD Special Response Team, we're coming to get you. We don't want you to do anything but stay there. You understand me?
Step of this rescue. Very dangerous operation, even under control of personnel.
Just yell up the
All
stairs.
care has to be taken to ensure no one not a Spider-Man imitation. This is called an inverted
I want you to
descent.
remain calm. We're going to take you out there, okay? I don't want you to do anything but stay there. Stay there.
They're going to have to attach themselves to
Secure the ladder.
be extremely careful. Nelson was standing right there. Additional pressure on that scaffold.
They're going to pull the ladder up. They're trying to keep the ladder from falling. They're rescuing the ladder.
On the ground below, firefighters are tending to those lines. If there were to be a slip and a fall, those people are very important. They put pressure on the ropes, retrieve the ropes, and close down the wall.
Dave, okay. Okay. We're on the water line. Everyone's coming.
Just throwing down safety lines to help secure that scaffold. You can imagine wave, especially on a windy day.
Look at that, Andrew. Look him come down.
Hold the ladder taut.
Look, Andrew, you see what's on the ladder. Whoa, where are you going?
And the victims, all the connections are stopped.
That's the bad part of it.
Just in time. That shows you how dangerous this operation can be. That's why all the precautions are so very important. Accident occurs. There's minimal risk to the people involved.
Attention. Attention. Flat. Attention. Flat.
Yeah, that's right. You can volunteer for that? How'd you like it, buddy?
Definitely everything. See it. Smile. Come on,
Proper vehicle extrication. This vehicle has to be stabilized. Remember,
little bit dizzy watching it.
Everybody was getting into the celebration in front of the Coral Gables Police and Fire Departments this Saturday, even the Boy Scouts and members of Operation Desert Storm. That this annual open house was held in recognition of Police Memorial Week, with all-day demonstrations to educate people on how these departments actually work to better serve them.
We try to show the people of Coral Gables just what their police and fire, the equipment they have, the demonstrations, the things that we can do in terms of saving their lives, protecting their lives, equipment, their houses, whatever.
The police department uses many recourses. One of them is this inflatable vessel, used during hurricanes to save lives and also during drug interdiction. Among the different procedures shown were a canine demonstration, SWAT team rescue, airborne rescue team demonstration, and the jaws of life extrication. For those that have never actually seen these departments in action, the jobs they perform might be taken for granted. But the fact remains that with these rescue missions, there is always an unfortunate element of danger.
You have to have confidence in your equipment and in your skills. We train to where there's no doubt in our mind that the way we tie off our ropes and the way we're hooked in, that it's going to fail. There is always a risk of something going wrong, but we try to train to overcome those risks.
Few that attended Saturday's activities will ever have to experience a real-life, full-scale rescue situation, but at least they left with a better understanding and possibly a lot more respect for the responsibilities involved for those in the line of duty. In Coral Gables, Marty Ulfi, Dynamic Headline.
Sir, we're coming to get you. Just stay still and don't do anything.
Ready? Up. On the wall. Okay. Need to hear from you. Need to hear from you. All right.
Clear. Clear.
Clear. Back. Even, guys. Even, guys. Okay, stepping right foot. Right step. Okay, hold. Work hold. Go. Don't stay on that rope. Okay, buddy? Don't stay on that rope. Hold that.
What you're seeing here, this is not a Spider-Man imitation, this is called an inverted descent.
We're going to take you off there, okay? I don't want you to do anything but stay there. So just relax. We're going to secure the lines and I'm going to come down.
They're going to have to attach themselves in some way to this victim and be extremely careful that they do not put any additional pressure on that scaffolding. Pressure on the ropes, retrieve the ropes, and slow down the descent of the fall.
know what the guy's on that is? Yeah.
Wheels up, so we're looking at sliding the telescope bar, pushing the wheel away from them, and then tilting it up. Now we freed them from entrapment without doing anything. Does the seat slide back? What if they're driving with the seat up? You know, all the way up, halfway up, whatever. You might be able to slide it back. To free somebody from entrapment, we're only looking at a ½ inch to an inch. To free them from entrapment, then you got to work with them a little more. Of course, if you can get 4 inches and move them a little less, that's what you'd like to do. But if it's going to increase the hazard, you want to do as little as possible. If all that's not there, you don't have a tilt wheel, it doesn't have a telescoping wheel, and the seat don't slide back, how about cutting the bottom rim of the steering ring? Cut here, and then look how much room we've gained. To free side down and then cut the rim. You guys will cut a steering ring with bolt cutters down there, and it's butter. It really cuts very simple. All it is a piece of thin steel inside the coating. Okay, whatever the coating be, plastic like this or rubber or leather, it cuts very easy. It cuts very easy with a hacksaw. Okay? But that will gain you a lot of access. One of the evolutions we had in our competition was that they took a grade awl and crushed the hood and the steering column down on our patient. Well, we cut the hood off and cut the bottom ring of the steering ring out and vertically extricated the patient, which saves us a whole lot of time rather than wrapping. So if we don't have to wrap, we'd like to get away without it, but if we have to, ideally if you got hydraulics on the scene, making your relief cuts on the A-post and ramming the dash. You all saw those slides. It gives you incredible access, and that's the safest way to do it. But in the case that we do have to use this, we can use it safely, so we're going to go ahead and go over it. Anybody have any questions? We do have to extricate. We do a pretty quick inner and outer circle survey. The guy doing the inner circle survey is looking for number of patients, degree of entrapment. In other words, are both doors jammed, the roof's crushed on them, and the dash is down on them, or is just the dash down on them, or just the doors wedged, and then they're going to be free. Go ahead, JP, you can start. Did you guys? The car hitting the contact with it, bystanders. Start establishing an outer circle survey or an action area. Whereas when I'm doing this, sir, would you please step back? Don't come back in this area. When the incident commander comes there, he can assign somebody to maintain that area or maintain it himself. What we want to do is just slide these things under there, 4 places whenever possible, as far as it'll go under. Once it goes under as far as it will, we would take a pair of channel locks, grab onto the valve stem, and roll it up on the head or the top of the channel lock. Roll it right against the rim. The valve stem pulls out very simple. The air comes out nice and slow. And what it's actually doing is taking it off the suspension system. You can barely see the car lowering, if at all. The air is coming out of the tire and the suspension system's closing. Okay? What you want to do is if the tires are flat, and you can't do that, and that's what we're going to assume here because we can't flatten the tires, is take these wedges and just tap them underneath the step jock. Hold on 1 minute, JP. If you pull that out of me, you guys can see this rock's pretty good now. We'll try to minimize that movement. And that can happen by climbing in the car through a window, by prying the door, or flapping the roof or anything.
Neal, is there any more difficulty with metal stems than the rubber stems?
Yeah, if they're metal stems, you got to puncture the tire or take the valve stem out. The custom rims that have the screw-in metal stems, they're not going to pull out.
I think most trucks are like that too, right? Metal stuff.
No. It's usually upon your request, I think.
They put
you
metal.
want them. They're not going to give you it.
Yeah, sure. You guys can grab it and see on the other side. You'll see that on uneven ground, it'll still work. You guys see a little bit there. On asphalt, you're right under it. Pretty still this way. Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Got anything on this one you need to get to me? Just brush it out of the way. There you go, that's fine. You just want to tap it until it's stuck. That way. Now we're going to structure. Guys, forks every time you push the door. Okay, now imagine you've got a rescuer in there trying to control a spinal injury, maintaining inline mobilization, and you're rocking the car. Okay, every time you rock, they're both moving ahead of you. The car is down on there. You got to get some people up under here, squat down, grab the wheel well, and lift up on the shocks to get the fitting out. Okay. We're physically trying to move this thing, and it's not easy. So it's doing what we want it to do. It does need to be line of mobilization from outside the vehicle. Now once we've got it stabilized, break out the back window or the other side and let a rescuer gain access and get in there and take that immobilization away from you. Now he's in there and he's in a better position. Okay? This windshield saw.
Don't worry, sir, you'll be fine. I'm highly trained. But there's nothing on the cut.
It's called a quick cut. It's designed to take out glass. If it was for the glass industry, it'd probably be about 25 bucks. Okay, but it's for the fire service, so it's 125. Those are figures. It's expensive, okay? I think it's like 79 bucks, but it does a hell of a lot of work. It's designed for this here to create a purchase point or a starting point for you. With the blade inside the handle, simply in full protective gear, goggles on, visor down, make a starting point, okay? This is an ideal place to start, as close to the body or the hood as possible. Just go ahead and break this through and it'll create a hole. Once you do that, loosen up on your knurled knobs or knurled screws here and tap the handle out. Slide the handle, the blade, I'm sorry. Slide the blade out of the handle. You don't have to extend it fully because you're only cutting through windshield glass. It's not that thick. Pull it out, tighten back down on your knurled screws. Place the blade inside the hole that you've created with your hand on the handle like so, and you pull towards you and cut, okay? It does throw glass slivers. The harder you pull, the further it'll throw them. That's why it's important to have eye protection, which protects our eyes, and a face shield, which protects our face. A face shield is not adequate eye protection. Okay, it can still get up under there and get in your eyes, so you need eye protection, safety glass, not a glass that's gonna break, and a face shield to protect your eyes. If you kind of keep your head down, you're more than well protected. Remember that patient? No matter when you're taking out the glass, if you can protect them from the glass slivers, that you want to do that as soon as possible. So you let it push down on the side. Well, it'll cut on the downstroke, but it's designed to cut on the pull. You slide it back in, it's going to be running against the glass. It'll cut a little bit and then pull out. You can strike. In other words, you get here and then you start cutting downward. Okay? When you cut by the dashboard, you have to come in at an angle like this. Right? That makes sense, right? If you cut like this, you're going to be digging into the dashboard. Just come at an angle like so and cut. If you need to puncture here again, you can puncture with the blade out, okay? Just be careful that you don't strike the blade. If you're in a position where you can't strike without damaging the blade, put the blade back into the handle, strike, and then take it back out. Does anyone have any questions on that? Okay, before we get started...
You really impacted here and you can't really get in here.
Yeah. When we say take out glass, we want to take out any glass that may be affected by the operation. Okay? That meaning that if I'm going to pry this door, this glass is going to be affected if it's intact. So I want to take it out. If I'm going to remove the roof, all glass is going to be affected, right? So I want to get it out. If I'm just going to pry this door and take the patient out this way, well then maybe just this glass and this glass, okay? The other glass on the other side isn't really going to be affected. Whenever possible, we like to roll the glass down into the door. Manual handle, go ahead and roll it down into the door. Once we get it down into the door, we still want to break it. All right, and that really doesn't make much sense to people, but if you think of, once again, the patient's care and rescuer safety, we want that glass to break when we know it's going to break. Any glass that shatters is startling to the patient and to the rescuers who aren't expecting it. So whenever we break glass, we like to say breaking glass. in a loud voice so it can be heard by all on the scene. You don't have to scream it so all the bystanders hear, but that the fellow rescuers hear you. I'm going to break this glass. I can put my hand in a position like so, somewhere on the vehicle, so if the window punch goes all the way through, my hand and everything else don't go into the patient. Breaking glass, boom, and I punch it, just like so. It could be right here, it doesn't matter. Breaking glass, and I punch this glass. When you roll it down, if you leave 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch out of the top of the door frame, and just strike it with a heavy object, a pry axe, a screwdriver, this will be fine. Just strike the top rim of it, breaking glass, and you hit it, the majority of the glass is going to go down into the door. However, everybody knew it was going to break. They're expecting that shatter. If you just roll it down into the door, and then don't break it, you start to spread the door, the glass is going to shatter. Okay? And it makes a loud pop and a bang. The patient might jump one way, the rescuer jumps the other. Okay? And there goes your torque on the spinal column. We want to start remembering the spinal column, not just C-spine. Okay? We can't be so concerned with the head that we forget about the rest of the body. We're concerned with spinal injuries. Okay? The whole spine. So rear windows the same way, just punch them. Laminated glass or tinted glass, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say laminated. Tinted tempered glass is great because you puncture it, it all stays there. You can take the whole sheet out away from the interior compartment, eliminating some hazards, and throw it up underneath the car. Okay, tempered glass, when you shatter it, the majority of the times it stays right there. Sometimes it falls down, but a lot of times it stays right there. Stick a finger through it, get a hole, and start pulling the glass towards the outside. So you leave it out of the passenger compartment where we're working. Anyone have any questions on breaking glass? A pry axe will work. We don't have a side. If you can't do that, you need to make sure before you make your final cut that somebody's supporting the windshield. Okay? The incident commander can really cut down on extrication times. By sitting here, I can say, hey, Gordy, have your crew stabilize the vehicle. As soon as it's done, Matt, you guys get ready to take out the glass. All right? Gordy can't worry about if you're ready or what you're going to do when he's got a job to do, but I can sit back and watch the whole thing. Now, Gordy's done. He comes back and he says, vehicle stabilized. Okay, Matt, go ahead and take out the glass. Gordy, you guys go get the hydraulics set on. Now, Gordy's crew's over here and they're ready to go with the hydraulics. They can start working. I can watch Gordy's crew working there. I can watch what you're doing, make sure everything's going. If I see you taking out this front windshield and you're about ready to make your final cut, it's not supported. I need to say, hey, Matt, hold. Get somebody to hold that windshield. He'll get in there and hold it. Make sure it don't fall in on them or pull it back out of your way. But it needs to be done by somebody who's not involved in the actual extrication. We'll just side of that big picture. We're expecting the rubber too. You come down a little further.
What, for your drive class?
That's
good, man.
Mask, fins, snorkel, $75 for all of it.
Alright, damn, that's a steal, bro.
Strike on the bottom. Break it all.
Tear that baby up.
Go baby.
Alright, Corey, step on in here and finish that off. Guys, don't be intimidated by this thing. Our little glass slivers cut. Look at that. Look at this cut.
But that's somebody's support, right?
Yeah, or you can just go ahead and flap it over. Which way you want to do it?
We got somebody in there supporting.
Now, do you finish that off and throw it into the car?
No, Dave, just go ahead and cut the top and then cut down. And you can flap it over this way instead. Who hasn't cut? Who has not cut? Keep doing stuff in this one there. Throw this in the back seat for now. We would throw this stuff under the car, okay, guys? On the scene, you take it off and throw it under the car. No, you just break that stuff off. I'm sorry.
If we made it with the same tool, Neal, we could go just get pliers.
Pardon me. Okay? These windows are power. And I imagine this painter might have enough. A lot of times it'll work, sometimes it won't, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. Breaking glass. Okay, nice and simple. Broken glass. We don't have a window punch, but it's better than sledgehammer, or it's better than triax, right? That's all I did is I snapped this thing off the car, took off the blade. It has to have a steel tip like that. It can't be a plastic tip. All right, so what's the windshield wiper if you need it? Take it off. On the frame, so if it pushes through it, dump your hand over the glass. No, and then you want to go in here. Right in here. Leave it here. It doesn't matter.
Glass.
Okay, piece of cake. Dave, you clear that out, Matt?
Got a whole lot of pressure.
The thing is they're spring loaded.
Breaking glass.
Spring's very intentional. So if it's hard to go without using tools, that's what we want to do first. So we've tried to slide our seat back. We've just gained about, I don't know, 6 inches maybe. Now we tilt the wheel another 2 to 4 inches. All right, still not enough. Try cutting the ring. Another 4 to 6 inches. Okay, if that patience still ain't out, chances are, guys, we're gonna have to ram the dash anyhow to get the whole dashboard off them. If all those methods that we just had here don't work, that's probably gonna be our next step. Relief cuts. Right. So what we want to do here,
Either that or you get somebody in the back trap.
Yeah.
Pete, you can probably get out of that coat because it's normal coat on the front.
So do you get any safety goggles here?
This is the couple. Eventually we'll have one to back up every power unit that we have, and we'll have 3 trucks before October with power units on them, with hydraulics. And we're going to a new hydraulic tool, the Amcus. Getting away from the Hurst, we're going lighter and stronger. This come along comes with 2 12-foot chains. Okay, the chains are identical. And we have on one end a simple hook or a J hook. On the other hand, we have an oblong ring and a saddle hook or a chain shortener. Okay. When we use these chains to wrap anchor points, we like to wrap in the method I'm going to show you. When we talk about wrapping an anchor point, I can't tell you if we get to a scene, Matt, get under there and wrap the frame. Because I don't know that this vehicle has a frame. Okay, a lot of our cars are unibody or unibody construction. They don't have frames. I can't tell you to go in there and wrap the front anti-sway bar or stabilizer bar, because I don't know if this car has one. I can just tell you to wrap an anchor point, and all I can tell you is that anchor point needs to be secure, and preferably at 2 or more places. In other words, you just don't want a bar secured here and freestanding here, or secured here and freestanding here. 2 or more places, preferably. A front stabilizer bar, usually in 4 places. That's nice and strong. The A-frame of the car, okay, going to the suspension system. That'll be strong. Things we want to stay away from them: shocks, springs, rack and pinion bars, power steering bars. What did you say? Bumpers, yeah. Bumpers, fenders, stuff like that. We don't want them. We want to get under there and get something secure. So you have to get under there and look and find out the best thing that's secure. Once you find that anchor point, the way we want to wrap is, Pete, step up here a minute. This is the object, no matter which way it is under there, whether it's horizontal or vertical. We want to wrap around that object just like so. We're not going to wrap around it 2 times, 3 times. We're not increasing the strength at all. Just wrap around the object, bring our oblong ring up to where we want it. If we're doing a front or steering wheel displacement, we want this right at the top of the hood, right where the front of the car and the top of the hood come. The further we have it away from our object, our pulling point, the more pull capability we're going to have. So we put this here where we want it, say this is it. We grab our chain, bring it up here to the chain shortener, slide the link in there sideways, and we're ready to go. It's a simple, strong hookup, simplest method we can use. Still at our 2-ton. Yeah, this is a slip hook, or saddle hook. That's a slip, this is a slip hook or a J hook. Now we're ready for to come along to be hooked into our anchor point. Right. If this isn't enough chain doubled, in other words, your anchor point's way underneath the vehicle's been crunched up and there's a lot of material we got to come around. And this right here isn't long enough, then we go into a slip hook or a choke wrap, where we single the chain, wrap it once around the object, and just lay this hook in the chain like so. The harder you pull, the harder it chokes, okay? Now we got this much more chain to use to bring the oblong ring where we want. If we don't need all this chain, we simply grab it where we need this and chain shorten it here. Okay? Now we have a little more chain to work with. Still well within our 2-ton capacity rating.
Where's the 2-ton capacity on?
It's coming from the double cable on.
Where's the rating starting? Is that on the hook or on the chain, or I guess the weakest part?
Yeah, the weakest system. Everything here is designed to function up to 2 tons. At 2 tons, this handle fails. This handle will bend at 2 tons.
Okay, so it's not the chain.
Right, it's this handle. When this handle bends, you reach your pulling capacity with this tomahawk. The tomahawks will each be supplied with 2 handles. When this bends, it doesn't mean take it out and grab the other handle and put it in place, right? Because you're going to bend that one on your first crank. You have to look for another option. Reach your pulling capacity, you cannot do it anymore. Doesn't mean take a piece of galvanized pipe or cheater bar, slide it over this and crank some more. Doesn't mean take this out and slip the fireman's crowbar and come along and crank further because it's bent. That means you're done. Find something else to do. You can't use that come along. Okay? There's probably not going to be too much we'll encounter that with this 2-ton come along with ease. Have a, hey Joe. We have a inline pulley. Okay? This is hooked to your object all the time. Whatever you want to move, this is hooked to it. It's called your inline pulley. Whenever it's hooked to your object, it's hooked with the hook facing up. Okay? Hook facing up. If you need more cable than you do in the doubled rating, you can disconnect this here and stretch it out and use a single cable. Your tonnage is now reduced to 1 ton. Is that understandable, everybody? In other words, I pull this out and it doubled, it's not enough cable. I disconnect here and use it single, that doubles my length. Now I'm back to 1 ton because it's rated 2-ton double. This lever right here is called your freewheel lever, okay? If you pull it towards you, it disengages this gear, this dog from the gear, okay? And you can manually pull the cable out, all right? Freewheeling it, it's not on the gear. This is called your hand wheel. We'll crank the cable in. with the hand wheel manually. This is, I'm sorry? No, it's not. This is called your direction of travel lever. When I want to go into the freewheel mode, it needs to be away from the object. When I want to pull that object, the object being my steering column or the roof or the door, this one needs to be facing that. Okay, that safety catch comes out here, so if this does slip, it doesn't come out. Okay, you got to reach down here, push this in, and pull the handle. All right. Does anyone have any? This is the other part of this. Does anyone have any questions on? We're going to be familiar, but we'll do. Everybody will rotate through the wrap with any of the parts or features on this come along. The insertion of the handle. The hooks on this come along. When you hook into the oblong rings, and that's the only thing we hook into, is the oblong rings. You hook facing up. Hook up, hook up.
You work with anything in extrication that's hooked up?
Yeah. We want to get at, it's just a safety feature. It reduces the chances of it catching on something. In other words, we're pulling the displacement steering column, it gets down to here and it hooks on this hood. Okay, or it hooks on the dashboard. Plus it hooks on things and has a better chance of the hook coming out. This is a safety bar, but as they get older, it loses some of the tension on the spring and it's loosened. Alright, objects, like I said, guys, you're going to have to go into there, look for what's secure, and wrap it doubled like I told you. And then when you come out, we'll check it and I'll tell you, hey, that's good, or no, that's not good, in my opinion. Same with stabilization. If a vehicle's on its side or on its roof, you're not going to be wrong if you decide to put it here and I decide to put it here. I might tell you, in my opinion, I'd put it up a little further. It doesn't mean you're wrong, okay? Same thing when you find a wrap. You might decide to use the A-frame, but I'll use the stabilizer bar. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong. Yours might be a little secure, okay? You got to compare it to the object you're pulling. What's going to give way? The anchor has to be more secure than your object. All right. Pick it up. Set it on the hood. What we want to do is put our wheel in the normal position whenever possible. It's just easier to work with, okay? We want to start on the side closest to us. It doesn't matter if the wheel has 4 rings like so, a 3-ring or 3 support steering wheel, or just 2 supports. The wrap's going to be the same. Grab the oblong ring, okay? Come up from the bottom side of the steering ring on the dashboard side. Matt, if you can't see, go to the other side so everyone can see. You can see from there right clear. You never want to wrap the chain coming on the passenger side or the patient side of the steering ring. If you do that, you're going to be pulling against the steering ring and it'll snap or bend. You always want to be on the dashboard side. So I want to come up on the dashboard side of the bottom of the steering ring, over the horn assembly or hub, and out the dashboard side of the top. Is that understandable, everybody? Come up here, and I want my oblong ring to end up on or about the dashboard, okay? Remember, we're going to build up slide cribbing here, so we're pulling high. So I want to put it about right here. Here will work, okay? So this is where we want it, on or about the dashboard, the firewall. Now, in order to do my wraps around the steering ring, this is going to be in my way. So what I do is take this and throw it over I've already measured my distance. I just throw it over the top of the steering wheel, okay? Now it's out of my way so I can wrap properly here, but without any hindrance. If it was across, I'd have to work under it all the time. Grab the rest of the chain in my hand, come underneath the steering column, okay? Grab it, pull it up. I want to stay as low on the steering column as possible. I get the chain back in my hand, come back around. I'm going behind all these signal switches and windshield wipers and everything. Come back around another time, underneath. Keeping it down as close to the dashboard as possible. Remember, we want to pull low, wrap low, okay? Come back down and come up the same way I did with my oblong ring. I want to come up the same way. Okay, up through the bottom on the dashboard side and out through the top on the dashboard side. Just throw that over. Okay? If your oblong ring falls off the wheel, don't worry about it. Just pick it up. It's going to come back in the same place. My chain shortener's here. I want to slip my link in here as tight as possible. And this excess chain I want to drop down into the patient compartment. Watch the patient's legs, you know, just get it in there. The reason for that is I want the chain coming, the tension on the chain coming back against the saddle hook, reducing the chances of it slipping out. Okay? So now I have this sitting here. My slide cribbing, 3 4x4s. Set one here. Okay, same thing across the firewall. We're distributing our weight so we don't crush down into the dashboard. And then this one goes here. Where does it go on the slide crib? We'd like the oblong ring to just come over the top of it. So if the oblong ring's back here, then it needs to be back here. If the oblong ring's up here, then it needs to be up here. Okay, is that clear? Now we're wrapped low where our torque's going to be, and we're pulling high. All right, everybody see that there? Once again, lifting up on the steering column rather than fulcrum and increasing the chance of it torquing. For now, so this stays in place, we'll just lay it down. The anchor point. Well, I'm putting that, or one rescuer is wrapping the object being the steering column, the other rescuer will be wrapping the anchor point. Whoever is done first, if he's done first, he lays down his anchor point and pulls it. When he's done, he can pull the anchor point. We use ladder crib across the front of the vehicle. This vehicle is pretty distorted, but it'll still work, to once again distribute the pull. If that chain is cutting directly into the car, it's going to bend metal, break plastic, break fiberglass, which are the nose caps on a lot of vehicles. If we have that ladder crib there, it's distributing the weight, and it doesn't crush in as much. So if we can get, we're going to lay that ladder crib in there, and I'm going to show you radio speaker magnets. If you take that magnet and lay it on the hood, okay, wherever, it doesn't matter, just lay it on the hood. Hook the bungee cord into it. Take your ladder crib and lay it where you're going to need it. Okay? Hook the bungee cord into the ladder crib and slide the magnet on. So hold your ladder crib in place. Now you just take your chain and you don't have to worry about holding both of them. Now we do that with that oblong ring. If it won't stay there, we hook the magnet in there and slide it down. Hold the oblong ring in place. Okay, Pete, grab that chain and wrap. Whenever you wrap, guys, if you can wrap from the side of the vehicle reaching under, that's the best. Rather than climbing up underneath the front of it and in front of those bumpers. Remember the gas-filled, nitrous-filled bumpers that are held in place by the crunched metal could free. If we're up here trying to force this door while you're wrapping the steering column, and we move this fender that's holding that gas-absorbed bumper compressed, it can blow out and take you out, like it did the Pennsylvania firefighter giving them brain damage. So we want to stay away from the front if possible. Just go ahead and lay down, Pete, look under there and see what you have to wrap. And you might pick something different than Matt would pick, or I would pick, or Gordon.
Isn't on some of while he's wrapping that in, some of the bumpers also hook into the airbag?
A sensor is. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that indicates an impact greater than 25 miles per hour, it discharges the airbag. But it's just a sensor. On impact, if it was greater than 25 miles an hour, it was supposed to have already discharged that.
What if we got T-boned and that hasn't discharged?
Exactly. What are you concerned about?
Well, I'm concerned about two things: the patient and the shock and the rescuer, and anything else that might explode because of.
The only thing we can do to neutralize the supplemental restraint system that has not discharged on impact, and that's a perfect example, side impact. The only thing we can do is disconnect the battery.
Yeah, but now some of them have a
capacitor. That capacitor can last
up to a half hour.
Hold on, Pete. Go ahead. Remember, guys, what we want to do is we want to get in the habit of not doing anything unless you're told to do it, okay? I know you're trying to help, but let them work around it. We don't want too many rescuers in one area. That's a one-man evolution. Let them go ahead and do it. You got it? Let me look. Now, if you got a vehicle, and it might happen on this one, it's too distorted to do your wrap, you can come right to this side of the car and pull from an angle. It doesn't have to be directly in line. It's better, but it doesn't have to be. Gordon, back to your question. Those capacitors.
You didn't want to hook up to sway bars.
No, anti-sway bars are good. Front stabilizer bars are fine. Rack and pinion, no. Rack and pinion, what's the other bar called? Power steering bars, no good.
Maybe one of the things is, like for me, I don't know what these objects are. So that, you know, when you say sway bar, you got to show me what it is so I know.
An well, all cars don't have them. An anti-sway bar is a bar that goes from both A-frames, the A-frames that would hold the tire in place, that the cylinder's sitting on. It looks like an A. It comes off the body, off the frame. Yeah.
You don't want to go into that?
Yeah, you can, but can you get to it?
That on the other side you can, on this side you can.
Here you get to right to the stabilizer bar. It's a lot easier.
So I got to see what you hook
Stabilizer bar or anti-sway bar tries to put both of those together so the car doesn't lean too much. It's about that big.
All the way across.
It's attached to the pins in the center.
Is there any leftover stick in our cooler,
Can I take a
Chuck?
in there and look? What?
Is there any leftover?
Matt, go ahead and show him.
A-frame here. This power steering bar, no good. And obviously the anti-steering bar comes all the way across. That's okay.
About where you need it. And then let the chain drop. And that's where when you walk the come on back, you're going to hook into it. Right? If you don't need to, matter of fact, he's still wrapping up there. And instead of standing here holding this, doing nothing, lay it down. It's still going to be the same length when you pick it back up. Lay it down, pick up the come along, hook it in, hook down, right? Hook up. Hook it in, hook up. Come over here, and how do I put it in freewheel mode so I can walk this thing back? That's towards me. No. Towards me is correct. Now what do I got to do to pull? That's when it's under tension. Freewheel lever, pull it out of gear, walk it back. Okay? Hook that in. Hook down.
You're just holding that back to get a freewheel lever.
Right.
So we're good.
Is it hook down or hook up? How's it supposed to be? Okay. Crank this up by hand. All we're doing is taking the slack out. Okay? Command would be slacks out, hold. Right here, this is the most important part of the evolution. We've got everything hooked up, we want to stop and check the chains. And what you're going to do is come back here and make sure that you wrap this thing properly. Okay? This, if at all possible, should be over here more. It's not going to make that big of a difference, okay? And it's hard when it don't have a center ring keeping it all intact. But I'm going to go ahead and move that anyhow. Matt, how would you put slack into this one? It's not under tension now, it's only under hand tension.
I would have to move this and one knot up top.
No, it's not under tension. It's not under tension, so you can just pull your freewheel lever back. Your freewheel lever.
Is this also called a freewheel lever?
No. It's the direction of travel. Freewheel lever back, and then just pull some cable. Hold on, it's in gear here.
Yeah.
Remember, this has to be away from the object. Away from the object. Freewheel lever. Pull some cable.
Now put this back over.
Now you can go ahead and put it back over and
ready to come along?
Up on a come along.
Come along. Ready to come?
Yeah.
Ready
Come on up.
Prepare to come. Up on a come along.
Okay.
Okay, Pete, it's under tension. How do we put slack into the line when the rigging's under tension? Right hand up, or she goes here. You gotta pop it.
One gear at a time, you said, right?
Yeah, that's not. So you have to slip forward, you gotta make sure that clicks. Now we put slack back into the system. How do we manually put more slack into the system?
What?
With the freewheel, right?
Yeah. No.
You lock it.
Yeah. No. So the manual.
Put it back and put the freewheel.
And pull the
back.
finger. The free level.
Freewheel lever.
Yeah. The
Free
free
lever. Free
Free
lock.
level.
Free lance. Freedom of the piece. Freedom of the press. Freedom for Cubans. Exile.
Gordon, if you have your coat on, please undo that anchor. Up the object. Gloves. If you use your hacksaw on a call, you take your blade off when you're done and you put a new blade on it when you put it back in service. Okay? That way you have a brand new blade, sharpest capability when you need it.
What are we cutting with today?
We're going to cut with 24 tooth blades. What we're going to do is cut this post. Ideally, if you can open the door, we want to open it, right? Because now it's this much less material we have to cut through. If we can't open the door, we can cut through this. A little more elbow grease is all it's going to take. What we like to do is what we call prepare the post. If I know I'm going to cut the post, I might say, Gordy, go ahead and prepare the 8-post driver's side for Matt. Matt, get the hacksaw and get over here. What I mean by that is getting this soft, annoying material out of the way. This aluminum trim is soft and it heats up and it's a little harder to cut through actually than the hard steel. The inner plastic, some of it's metal, prying that out of the way. The rubber lining around the windshield and around the door jamb, pulling it out of the way. What I want to caution you is, if you start to get this stuff out of the way with a screwdriver or channel lock, and it's giving you too hard of a time, forget it. Leave it alone. Cut through it. You'll cut through it quicker than if you get tied up into trying to get it off. Okay, so if I say prepare, you come over here and you try this. It comes right off, you get it out of the way. Go ahead and do this with the door open. You get the door open, we try it that way. It gets that out of the way, pull it down. Once again, whenever you're cutting posts with hacksaws, remember from the lecture, single thickness metal up here, double thickness down here. So you want to try to cut as high as possible. It does leave an additional hazard exposed, but we got pieces of hose that can slide over that. When you're working with the hydraulics, we got more power, you cut down low. That way you don't have to deal with that sharp metal sticking up. This stuff's peeling off all pretty easy. It's getting it out of the way. Now we're right down to that odd-shaped metal that I'm ready to cut through. All right, and that didn't take them long at all. But you're going to get some cars that shit just won't cut. I'm not left-handed, but I'm going to try. I'll just get this thing started. Okay? When you put these blades in there, it says max 8 turns, but a lot of times if it's bowing like this, it's too soft. Go ahead and crank it down. And that's max. Okay, I want to get my point started. There we go. On a hacksaw, you cut on the front stroke. He squirts it. Seconds. And that was left. When they're brand new, they have an arrow on them that says towards handle. If it's not on there, teeth facing forward. And you cut on the front stroke. With the 18 tooth, this probably would have cut in, I don't know, maybe 15 seconds. 10 seconds. If you're cutting 21 seconds with this blade. All right, anybody have any questions on that? Works real good. Get in a position where you're comfortable to cut. I'm more comfortable right-handed, but I couldn't do it here because of the door. Let's go ahead and, we don't want to cut up any higher than here so when we do the roof relocation and door relocation, we have something to grab onto. So this mark right here, nobody cut above. And we'll have somebody on one hacksaw cutting that side, and somebody on this side cutting here. Everybody needs to make a cut. We're going to cut. Get it out of there.
That's far enough, right?
You have plenty to drink? You have plenty to drink?
Yeah, we have
Fresh stack.
Way to go, Gordo.
Did it? No, I don't care. No, because I called for yesterday.
Here. Attaway, Matt. Come on, all the way through. Attaway, Matt. Good. Attaway, Pete. Good.
Coral Gables fire rescue members are continuously training to ensure car accident victims get a fighting chance. Belkis Ray has the story.
Every year, thousands of people lose their lives in car accidents. But thanks to special response teams like the one within the Coral Gables Fire Department, there are those who make it. The special unit is made up of 5 of the city's firefighters, and their field of expertise includes removing accident victims trapped in their cars as quickly and as safely as possible in order to save their lives.
You can't express through classroom procedures the best way to remove a patient from a vehicle that's heavily entrapped. Our goal is to get the patient to the trauma facility within a golden hour, and ways to reduce that extrication time so we can get them there where they can best be served. Without hands-on work like this and proving to the guys what works and what doesn't, we just can't accomplish that task.
Nelson Rodriguez is one of the firefighters taking part in the week-long special training session. He's been on the force for the past 2.5 years and says there's nothing like having some experience under your belt before arriving at the scene of an accident.
We're going into a newer, higher technique of extricating people out of cars according to the new standards. And they're getting us new equipment, so we're practicing on the new equipment, so we're proficient. So you just don't get out there and practice it on the people. You practice it here, and then you know what to do when you get out to the scene.
Once they've completed their training, the firefighters will have gained the experience and the knowledge they'll need to remove accident victims from their cars and get them to an emergency room before it's too late. Reporting for Dynamic Headline News, Belkis Ray.
The fire department is nationally renowned. As we reported earlier this week, the department's Special Response Team competed against 19 teams from the United States and Canada, and they won. Thursday, the team put on a step-by-step demonstration of its techniques. Using both manual and power tools, the team removed a victim from a car that had been involved in a simulated accident. In less than a half hour, the team managed to break the car windows, tear its roof off, and successfully retrieve the victim from the driver's seat. The kinds of skill that make them champions are the kind they're proud to pass on.
The training we're passing on to the department, to the rest of the people on shift, makes us feel a lot better, knowing we can get people out of the cars a lot quicker.
The team will go on to compete against 24 teams from around the world on September the 16th. We wish them a lot of luck. And this has been Dynamic Headline.
Gables tiene razón de sentirse orgulloso de sus hombres en el día de hoy. Su equipo de situaciones críticas ha ganado el primer lugar en la competencia de rescate de automóviles celebrada en Preble, New York, la semana pasada. y el equipo ha sido invitado a participar en las competencias a nivel internacional. El tiempo averaje para poder rescatar a una víctima atrapada en un auto es de 30 minutos, pero el equipo especial de Coral Gables logró realizar esta dura prueba o hazaña en solo 8 minutos. Noticiero Mía Visión entrevistó a una de las personas involucradas en esta especialidad.
Septiembre, en un pueblo que se llama Mississauga, Canadá, y ahí van a estar grupos del mundo entero, de Canadá, de Britania, de las Islas Vírgenes y de toda Europa.
¿Y cuánto tiempo es que ustedes entrenan para este tipo de competencia y también para salvar a las vidas de las personas que están en los autos?
Nosotros entrenamos todos los días desde como las 8 de la mañana hasta las 3 de la tarde más o menos.
Muy interesantes mensajes comerciales y regresamos con más en el otro.
Gables Fire has something to brag about. Their special response team received first place in the Northeast Vehicle Extrication Competition after being in operation for